My name is Andrew. I am 31 years old. And the woman I loved was filming me while I slept. Not because she had trouble sleeping, not because she wanted a memory of me. She was filming what she was doing to me while I was unconscious. And she was posting it online for subscribers to watch. I found out by accident, by picking up her phone when she was in the shower. I want to tell you about 3 people tonight. 3 different situations, 3 different ways that trusting the wrong person online costs someone something they are never fully getting back. Subscribe if you watch true scary stories. Drop a comment telling me where you are. And keep listening, because the first story is mine. I met Betty at work. She was the kind of woman that every person in the office noticed immediately. Striking, confident. She had turned down every person who approached her before I ever said a word to her. I had a significant crush on her for months and never acted on it purely because I assumed the outcome would be the same. She texted me first. She had gotten my number from a mutual colleague. We messaged for almost an hour that first night. She was warm and easy to talk to in a way I had not expected from someone who seemed so guarded at the office. Over the following weeks, we got closer. She started spending time at my place, eventually more nights than not. I was aware early on that the relationship was slightly uneven in terms of what we shared. I told her most things about my life. She shared very little about hers. I had never been to her apartment. I did not know much about her past or her family. But I was in the early part of falling for someone, and the imbalance did not register as a warning. When she needed to move out of her apartment, she accepted my offer to move in without hesitating. She said yes immediately, like she had been waiting for me to ask. A few months after she moved in, she left her job. She said she wanted to teach online classes from home. It seemed reasonable. I did not question it. When I came home in the evening, she was always dressed nicely. She said she liked looking good for me. I felt lucky. Then the headache started. Every morning I woke up with a throbbing headache, deep and persistent, the kind that does not respond well to anything you take for it. I attributed it to work stress. Then I started noticing small marks on my skin, scratches, small abrasions in places I could not account for. I did not remember injuring myself. Betty never mentioned them. My colleague Cindy noticed I was not looking well. She came to check on me in my office, and I told her I was thinking about taking a vacation. I mentioned Betty's name. Cindy went quiet in a specific way, the kind of quiet that means someone is deciding how much to say. She told me that Betty had an Onlyfans account. She said she had found out through a friend who had subscribed. I did not have a moral problem with the platform itself. What I had a problem with was not knowing. We were living together. She had never mentioned it once. I confronted Betty that evening, calmly. I sat down and asked her directly if she had an account. Her explanation was disarming. She said she had felt guilty about the financial pressure of the larger apartment. She said she had opened the account to help with expenses and had been too embarrassed to tell me. She was upset and apologetic, and it was completely believable. She pulled out her phone and deleted the account right in front of me. I watched her do it. I felt ashamed for doubting her. We went out to dinner. Things felt normal, but the headaches did not stop. The marks did not stop. Something was still wrong, and I could not name it. On a Sunday afternoon, Betty was in the shower. Her phone was on the bed. I was watching something on my own phone when her screen lit up with a stack of notifications. I glanced over. Several messages arriving at once. I picked up her phone to see if it was something important. The notifications were from Onlyfans. The account she had deleted in front of me 10 days earlier was active and receiving messages. I opened the app. It was not the same account she had deleted. It was a second profile, a different name, a different presentation entirely. She had shown me one account and let me watch her delete it. The other one had been running the entire time underneath it. I scrolled through the content on the second profile. I need to tell you what I found without being graphic about it, because the details are disturbing and I do not want to dwell on them. But I need you to understand what I saw. The videos on that profile were of me, taken in our bedroom at night while I was asleep, while I was unconscious. She had been drugging me. The headaches I had been attributing to work stress were the residual effects of whatever she was giving me. I had been going to sleep and losing hours and waking up feeling wrong, and I had been explaining it away for months while she filmed what she was doing during those hours. I sat on the edge of the bed and watched the screen, and my brain did something it does when a fact is too large to accept immediately. It just kept presenting me with the evidence over and over, as if repetition would help it land. I heard the shower turn off. I heard her start humming in the bathroom. I put her phone back on the bed exactly where it had been. I went to my closet. I took the essentials. I took my wallet, my keys, my laptop bag. I left while she was still in the bathroom with the door closed. I did not say anything. I did not confront her. I walked out of the front door and I did not go back. I reported what I had found to the police. The account was documented. The investigation proceeded. I do not know the full outcome because I did not stay involved in it beyond providing my statement. The account was still active when I last checked. Different videos, a different person in them. She had found someone new. I still do not know how long she had been doing this before me. I still do not know why. The question of why is the one that stays with me, not because I think there is an answer that would help, but because the absence of one is its own kind of weight. The second story, my name is Sarah. I am 24 years old, and I want to tell you about the night I heard a noise in the hallway and made a decision in about 4 seconds that I am still not sure was the right one, but it saved my roommate's life, so I have to believe it was. I was working at a beauty salon and barely covering my expenses. My roommate Dolly was patient with me when I fell short on rent. She was one of the most genuinely kind people I had known. I needed a solution, and I found Onlyfans the way a lot of people in that situation do. I opened an account, and within a month, I had enough of a subscriber base to make a meaningful difference. I was careful. I never shared personal information. No address, no real name, no social media crossover. I kept everything on the platform and treated it like a job with a clear professional boundary. One afternoon, a new subscriber messaged me. He started normally, photo requests, standard tip amounts. Then the questions started shifting. He asked how my skin felt. Not as a come-on, in a way that was genuinely difficult to categorize, specific and anatomical and oddly clinical. I deflected and he came back to it. He offered $50 for my phone number. I should have declined. I knew the professional line I had drawn, and this was past it, but $50 was meaningful money, and I told myself I could always block him later. I gave him the number. He paid immediately. That night at 2:30 in the morning, my phone rang. I picked up half asleep. The voice on the other end did not introduce itself. It said my name in a low, even tone and asked how my skin felt when I slept on it. I knew immediately it was him. I tried to stay calm. I told him it was the middle of the night and this was not appropriate. He said he had paid for my number. He said he owned it now. He said he owned me. Then he described what he wanted to do to me, in detail, with a specificity and composure that was more frightening than if he had been shouting. He was not angry. He was calm and detailed, and he sounded like someone describing a plan they had thought through carefully. I hung up. He called back. I did not answer. He called again. I blocked the number. He found another number and sent messages through the app. I blocked the account. I deleted my OnlyFans entirely. I did not sleep for the rest of that night. I did not go to work the next day. I stayed in my room with the curtains closed and felt the specific shame of knowing that a choice I had made for $50 had given someone like that a direct line to me. When Dolly came home that evening, she found me on the couch. She sat down and asked me what had happened. I told her everything. She did not lecture me. She made me food. She said we would go to the police together the next morning and file a report. She said everything was going to be okay. That night, because the summer heat was heavy and neither of our rooms had air conditioning, we slept with our windows open the way we always did on warm nights. Dolly fell asleep fast. The wine helped me get there eventually. I woke up at around 1:30 needing the bathroom. The hallway was dark. I went to the bathroom at the end of the corridor, used it, washed my hands. Standing at the sink, I heard something. A muffled sound, low and strained, coming from the direction of my bedroom. I stood still in the bathroom and listened. The sound came again, a suppressed cry, the kind of sound a person makes when something is hurting them and they are trying not to make noise. I came out of the bathroom slowly. The hallway was dark. My bedroom door was closed. I had left it open when I got up. I stood outside it and listened. I heard movement inside the room, a small rhythmic sound, and another muffled cry from Dolly. Here is where I have to tell you what I decided. I knew someone was in that room. I knew Dolly was in that room. I knew whatever was happening was not good. I could have gone to the front door and run. I could have tried to find my phone. I could have screamed from the hallway. Instead, I went to Dolly's room first. I had remembered the baseball bat she kept in the corner behind her door from when she had moved in. I had helped carry it up the stairs and laughed about it. She said it was for exactly this kind of situation. I took the bat, I went back to my door. I pushed it open and went in fast. A man was in my room, standing over the bed. Dolly was on the floor between the bed and the wall. He had a knife. He turned when I came in. He said my name. He said if I was here, then who was that? He meant Dolly. He had come for me. He had thought Dolly was me. He was standing there trying to process that he had found the wrong person. I did not give him time to finish processing. I swung the bat and I hit him as hard as I could, and I kept screaming because I needed someone outside to hear me. He went down. The police and paramedics arrived within minutes. Dolly had 6 stitches. She survived. She was out of the hospital in 2 days. The man was the same person from the phone call. The police identified him quickly. When they searched his home, they found evidence connecting him to a missing woman whose case had been open for several months. He was charged with multiple serious counts. He is in prison. I think about 2 things regularly. The first is that if I had been in my room that night, the way I normally would have been, he would have found the right person immediately. Dolly and I trading rooms because of the heat, a decision neither of us had planned or thought twice about, was the only reason I had any time at all to act. The second is that $50 is what it costs to give someone like that access to my phone. $50 and a moment of telling myself the risk was manageable. I know what the risk actually was now. I know it exactly. The third story, my name is Christine. I am 30 years old, and I want to talk about being followed, not the metaphorical version, not the feeling of being watched that fades when you get home and lock the door. I mean actually followed by someone I could not see clearly who stayed just far enough back to stay out of view. I had been on Onlyfans for about a year when it started. I had been careful the whole time. No face in any photos, no personal information shared, no social media crossover. I had blocked a handful of difficult subscribers over the 12 months without much drama. I thought I had a handle on the risk. A subscriber named Ted_B had been following my account for several months. He was one of my most consistent supporters. Regular tips first to comment on new posts, never inappropriate. He came across as intense but not alarming. Then I went on a 3-day hiking trip with a friend. I came back offline and opened my account to find 45 messages from him, all from the same account, all from the same 72-hour window. The early messages were normal. Hey, where are you? Then confused, then hurt, then angry. By the 40th message, the language had shifted into something I did not want to read closely. He described me in ways that were about ownership. He described what he felt he was owed for his subscription payments. He used words I am not going to repeat. I sent one message back. I told him I had been traveling and asked him to please keep the communication respectful going forward. His response started with, "Who do you think you are?" I blocked him immediately. For a few days, nothing happened. I told myself it was resolved the way most of these situations resolve. Someone gets blocked, moves on, finds another account. Then I started noticing things. It was subtle at first. The feeling in a grocery store that someone had moved out of your line of sight a half second too fast. A shape at the edge of your vision that is gone before you can focus on it. I dismissed it several times. I am not someone who tends toward paranoia. Then one evening I was waiting for the bus near my apartment. 8 in the evening, street lights on, a few other people around, but spread out enough that the bus stop felt relatively isolated. I was on my phone when an unknown number texted me. "Hi, how is everything?" I asked who it was. "A few seconds later, your friend." I put my phone down and looked around the street. A car parked down the block. A woman walking a dog in the other direction. No one obviously close. Another text came in. It said, "The red shirt looks amazing on you tonight." I was wearing a red shirt. I stood up from the bench. I looked in every direction. The street looked empty. The nearest people were too far away to have sent that text and been watching my reactions simultaneously. I texted back asking who this was. The reply came, "You're crazy fan." Then my phone rang. An incoming call from the same unknown number. I do not know what made me do what I did next. Something automatic. I hit the call button. A ringtone started somewhere nearby. Not from the street, not from a passing car, from the dark, narrow space behind the bus shelter. A ringtone that matched the sound of an incoming call because it was receiving my call. A man stepped out of the shadows behind the shelter. He was thin. He moved in a way that was very controlled, very deliberate, no wasted motion. He did not run at me. He walked forward one step and stopped and looked at me. He said something low and quiet, something about how I should never upset my fans. Then he started moving toward me. I ran. I did not look back until I was in the middle of the road and headlights were coming toward me. A car slowed. I was in the road and I could not stop. I woke up in a hospital. The driver had hit the brakes in time, and I had gone down from the shock of it more than from impact. Minor injuries. I was treated and released. I went to the police and filed a report. They took a statement. The investigation went through available footage from the area. They were not able to make an immediate identification. Time passed. The messages stopped. I did not see him again near the bus stop or anywhere I could identify. What I have thought about since then is the username, Ted_B. I have thought about the deliberateness of that choice, the way some people who follow certain paths announce their intentions in plain sight and wait to see if anyone notices. I noticed. But I noticed at a bus stop in the dark when he was already close enough for me to hear him step out of the shadows. That is not early enough. 3 stories, 3 different people, 3 different versions of what happens when someone on the other end of a screen decides that a transaction is not a transaction, that a subscription is not a subscription. Andrew came home to a relationship that had been something else entirely from the beginning. He found out when he picked up a phone that was not his. Dolly is alive because a baseball bat was in the right room, and Christine was awake when she should have been asleep. And I was standing at a bus stop in a red shirt thinking I was anonymous when I had never been anonymous at all. These platforms are real. The money is real. The audience is real. And somewhere in every audience, in every subscriber list, in every DM inbox, there's a small percentage of people for whom the transaction was never what you thought it was. You cannot always identify them early. You can only control what you give them access to. Your phone number, your location, your real name, your face. Once you give those things away, they do not come back. Learn that from someone else's story, not from yours.